All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Kingdom. All right. Hello. And it helps if I actually mute the stream so you don't hear me on like a 10-second delay. It's been a long day, folks. So, yes, for those of you tuning in and going, wait a minute, this is the wrong show. You're right. Normally, on the fourth Tuesday of the month, I'm running my Tyranny of Dragons campaign. Right now, that campaign, we're doing a very special kind of celebratory one-shot for them, and it's I was going to be missing a couple players, and because it's, this celebration thing, they all decided to just take the week off so that the next time we play, they could all enjoy kind of the conclusion of this one shot. So since I had a Tuesday night free and I'd been canceling on these guys far too many times, I'm running Kingdom of the Kael again. So we'll be running this campaign this week, and then we'll be doing it again next week to finish off any plot lines and, keep the story going forward. If everybody lives through this week. I mean, obviously, if there's a TVK, then we just, we start over new characters and
doesn't get paid.
Yeah, I think I'll start you guys in Sigil next time, and you can be, you can just wander around, get yourself a Spelljammer, whatever.
Fine.
So anyway, to kind of bring people up to speed on what's been going on, last week, or the session before, Fade, the cleric to the Dark Lady, who is the goddess of death, in this campaign setting, attempted to use an ability that was given to him to be used in times of great need. And when he attempted to use it, the need was not quite great enough for the Dark Lady. And so she kind of made it work in a very different way than was originally expected. And so last week, they were kind of dealing with the ramifications of what has happened. Elaine, through kind of some bizarre circumstances of Avok attempting to revive him because he was unconscious and dying, and nothing was really doing anything to stop that. Unfortunately changed Elaine, and Elaine developed a taste for blood. And so last week he kind of met with his dragon master, who also met with the Dark Lady, apparently. And now he is kind of a hybrid vampire dragon knight thing that has never actually been seen on this world before. So he is now wholly unique. Kata, after the experience, developed insanity and basically had a mental breakdown after seeing all of these weird things happening and watching her friends die and things like that. And so she had this mental breakdown and had to kind of go inside of herself to deal with what had happened and, her own insecurities and that, and came out a little bit stronger.
Yeah, it also gave me a chance to, let me...
Show paper.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, the little kid.
Aww. That's baby Kata.
Yeah.
So anyway, and she came out of it slightly stronger from a mental standpoint. She has a much stronger will and ability to perceive what is real and what is not than she did before. Avok is just dealing with the fact that he's starting to hear rumors that somebody out there has his fucking axe.
Actually, I don't think that info has been
Yeah.
No, you haven't found that out yet.
Me.
No, Dave wants his axe.
Avok doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of helping everybody else out and everything. And Fade, realizing what he did, has basically made all the preparations that he can to perform the ritual of atonement. which is something he was taught about when he first started becoming a cleric, but especially in Eladrin society, this is such a rare occurrence because normally if a cleric does something wrong, they don't take the chance that something wrong could lead to bad things. They just kill them. The paladin comes up and goes, "Hey, it's been nice knowing you. I hope you weren't too attached to your head. Shing, now you aren't." So he's been dealing with that and kind of preparing as much as he can. And he found out that little rock that they found in the Dwarven City had some interesting properties. So, yes. So picking up from where we left off last week. So Fade, you spent the majority of your day making your new holy symbol, infusing the stone into it, and then gathering the other necessary supplies. Probably the most difficult was to find water that was pure enough that you could use it in the ritual. So that took your entire day. The rest of you guys, Kata, you went and helped the group of children that you guys had met before and made your way back. Elaine, I can't remember what you did.
I was with Avok going to see the serrated death.
Oh, yeah, you guys met up with the serrated death to kind of get his help. And he said, "Yeah, I'm game for this, but you're never leaving. No one ever has." And so he kind of, he mentioned that there are other groups other than Scar's kind of bullies that exist down here. And he said he's willing to get them on your side if you can show him some sort of proof that it's possible to leave. So.
Show me what you got.
Show me what you got.
Yeah, that figures.
Yeah, get swifty with it.
God.
I'm not a bard, so it ain't happening.
Jeez, Morty. Morty, we gotta get going. I'm sorry. So anyway, you guys all are able to make it back to the kind of hovel that you've been living in for the past few days, in time to see Fade has removed his armor, is dressed in nothing but this kind of bizarre kind of sackcloth robe.
Not flattering.
Not at all. It's a burlap sack with arms, basically, and a head hole cut out.
Horrible.
That was another thing that you kind of fashioned out of the clothing that you had together. Like you had to create this this robe for the Atonement because you can't actually have any personal possessions on you. And so you guys notice that patches of it look very familiar, kind of like the sleeping mats you sleep on, and other parts of it look like other things. You're like, it's very bizarre looking, but whatever. So, Phage, you know, the ritual itself has to start at dawn, which down here is extremely difficult to figure out when that is because you're completely covered. And it goes until dusk. So the entire ritual generally takes anywhere from about 12 to 16 hours. And there's no guarantee that you will live through it.
Right. It's not something I'm looking forward to.
Okay. So you know that you can't start it tonight. You're gonna have to wait until tomorrow morning and hope that just your knowledge of the seasons and everything is good enough that you can start it roughly at the right time. It doesn't have to be exact as when the sun crests the horizon, but if you do it at the wrong time, it's kind of an insult to your god, and they generally tend to smite you for it. So,
She's not exactly a fan right now, anyhow.
Yeah. So, you basically will get one more long rest before you have to start this ritual. The rest of you guys have spent your day doing what it is, whatever you had done. It's gotten nighttime
Yeah,
now.
and I tell the others what I'd learned back there from the
Okay.
kids that had battled in the arena.
So she mentions that she cured this wound for one of the kids that wouldn't stop bleeding. And the kids had mentioned that this warrior with this really wicked looking axe had actually created the wound. And this seems remarkably familiar to Avok.
Okay, out of character for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that happened with Song, are we just disregarding that,
Oh
or?
yes, and that happened. That happened literally right before we start up. So,
Oh yeah.
just before this, I completely forgot about that. This portal to somewhere you guys have no idea appeared, and these two demonic looking entities with wings and this black iron armor and everything captured Song and whisked her away to somewhere else that you guys have no idea. Roll me, everybody, roll me history checks real quick.
Yeah, that's gonna go off real well.
Oh yeah, that's gonna. We're all smart. We're smart.
2.
If I didn't study history, 9.
Okay.
I didn't go to school, so I mean, what is history?
Cat, I can't even read.
10 for me.
All right, Elaine.
Oh man, hold on, I gotta get my dice because I'm totally unprepared.
You
I
are
was
the
preparing
one
for-
hope. See, as only
Right.
one person thus far has rolled in double digits.
I rolled an 11.
Woo!
History. Yeah.
So
11.
Elaine, you remember that when they came through, they spoke to her, and they called her by name, but the name that they used to refer to her was not Song, which is the name that you guys know her by. You guys were generally aware that she had another name that she didn't share with you. But the name that they called her, or the word they used when they were talking to her, was lust.
Huh.
That makes sense.
He called her lust. Yeah, she's definitely going to Joe Springer. Okay.
From what you guys know, she's never used that name in any of her history. You guys didn't know her remarkably well, but she's never mentioned that name before.
Well, last I checked, Avok got restrained somehow, so he's not in a good position at the moment.
I'm not in a good mood.
But
Never.
once the portal closed, any magic or anything like that ended instantly.
Okay. God damn it! What the fuck just happened?
Yeah, those guys were no joke.
They called her lust for some reason.
And no, not the best person with words, but isn't she? That kind of fits her in so many ways.
Yeah, true.
But regardless, God.
Yeah.
Okay, we just lost somebody, and we have no clue what to fucking. Great, this is fucking great.
I'm gonna go investigate that area, see if I can find any other clues to what the hell had just happened.
Sure. Make me an Arcana check.
Total of 12.
Doing the
Looking
good roll.
around, there's nothing there. Like, there's no residue from, like, certain spell components, when they are used and consumed in making a spell, they will leave residue and things like that behind. There's no residue. There's no, other than the fact that when the portal opened, it created a lot of wind and stuff like that. So the whole area, everything is kind of blown back away from where the portal was created. There's nothing.
And also in this crazy weakened state that I'm in, magically, the fact that he countered my absolute best efforts makes me want to not really pursue him at all. Like, this is kind of just for show for the group. So I'm kind of just like picking up stones in the area.
You do know, again,
nothing.
you've seen a portal similar to that one in a vision,
Yep.
but this was definitely different. And the place that it opened up into was as alien as the other portal, but massively different. Like, the other one showed like a battlefield with like elemental creatures and things like this. This one showed a city, a very bad looking city.
Yeah. I guess we could maybe hope she comes back, but I don't know how to find her.
I mean, she'll probably somehow talk her way out of it.
Hey,
Not really in a position to go after her now anyway, stuck here.
hey, Kata, you said something about that axe. It sounds like Avok's axe,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Kind of think of it.
So, big guy, if I can somehow get the DL back on my side, or at least for her to forgive me, then I might be able to find your axe for you. It is an object that I'm familiar with. Perhaps I could locate it if I ever get my powers back.
Okay,
It's
well,
possible.
get
So-
your powers back.
Yeah, so I'm going to need a little bit of cover when this starts up tomorrow, so that we can maybe get this all the way through. Or at least I'm going to hide, at the very least.
All right, well, yeah, we'll cover you. But I'm so pissed off right now. Okay,
Hey, Lane.
first,
Oh, yeah, go. I won't stop you from talking.
Right.
good thoughts. Anyways, okay, here's what we need to do right now. You need to get your fucking shit together. We need to get the fuck out of this place with more than just us, clearly. And somewhere down the line, we need to go find Song. Because, yeah, I'm not happy with this at all. Feel free to contribute.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
definitely have to
you're
put
right.
Song on the back burner. But
How'd your talk with the knife death guy go?
serrated death.
Yeah, the
Well-
knife guy.
He's, I guess, sort of on board. Apparently, there are other groups aside from Pissing and Scar, so let's try and convince them to work with us before we deal with that schmuck.
Okay.
But we have to bring him proof that we can get out.
Do we want to maybe try to sneakily investigate the pool that we think the exit is in?
Oh boy.
Do we want to even go near it at this point? But I mean, if we need proof, we're going to have to get something.
Maybe you should be at full strength before we attempt that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather us all investigate together, and right now you're pretty useless, so.
Did you even flush your wound out today?
Yes, as he turns around and changes some bandage.
As you change the bandage, you notice that the wound He's healing faster than it would naturally. Mostly because with how much of your arm you basically had to cut out. Like, theoretically, you should be, like, scarred for life with this massive chunk of flesh missing. And it's starting to knit itself back together. You're thinking you probably still have a good couple of days before it's to the point where that arm is going to be completely useful, back to full strength.
Fair enough. I wonder if did we ever get that girl's name? The one that I spent like all my spell slots to try to like heal her brain.
Yeah,
Well, next time you go back and talk to her, see if maybe she'd be willing to tell someone else about what she knows, because maybe her story alone will be enough, and the condition we found her in. We might not need any physical evidence to get knife death on our side, but
We can see if they'd want to go talk to him.
right.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah,
so what else can we do now?
They might be too afraid.
Right now, I hate saying this, but there's really not much else to do.
Like you're an outdoorsy type person, right?
Well,
What when do you think we're gonna be waking up in the morning? When do you think that's gonna be?
do I know?
Make a survival check with advantage.
Nice.
You,
Natural
you
20!
Oh, you're fine.
Fuck yes.
You woke up every morning like your alarm clock was the sun. So you sit there and you kind of have an internal clock that's better than most, simply because you haven't had other timekeeping devices. And so you go, yeah, dawn is probably about 8 hours away ish.
Yeah, if we take a long rest, you should be fully charged and ready to take this on.
I got about 6 hours I could help you guys out with. Other than that, I got preparations to make. You guys want to take a nap? I can watch for stuff and scream like a little girl. If there's anything wrong with that?
With you, actually, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Fade, traditionally the night before this ritual is performed, the cleric in question spends the entirety of the night before meditating, which for Eladrin, because of the whole trance thing, is actually not difficult. For like a human cleric or things like that, it's actually a little bit more difficult for them because they require like unconsciousness. But
Okay.
yeah, it's traditional that for the 8 hours before, you are doing nothing but meditating.
Maybe we should, I watch in Paris then.
Yes.
So, do you guys want to set up a watch? What do you want to do?
I'll watch now because I want to get as my meditation done as close to go time as possible.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Fade will take the first watch.
I'll take
Who
second.
wants to talk?
Okay. Kate's got second.
All right, so who's with Fade and who's with Kata?
I try to get just a little bit closer to Elaine.
Oh my god, fine. I'll watch it fade.
Yes, I mean, sure, I guess.
So,
All right,
are both
now what
Elaine
did you
and
get?
Fade on first watch then?
Sure.
Okay. Then second watch is Kata. We got third and fourth watch that still needs to happen.
Oh. I guess I'll do third and fourth watch.
Okay. In order for you, because you're human, right?
Yep.
In order for you to get the effect of a long rest, you need to be asleep for 6 of the 8 hours. So if you take 2 watches, you won't get the effect of a long rest.
Okay.
That's alright. I've been under the effect of a long rest since last session, so.
All right.
I'll,
And
I'll,
going.
I'll do 1 and 2 for sure.
Okay. So Kata, do you want to do 3 and then Avok 4?
Okay.
Okay. Then that works fine.
Alright.
Yeah, I didn't. I admittedly didn't think about that when I suggested double shifts. Alright.
That's fine. So Fade and Elaine, I need a perception checks. Fade, you will make yours with disadvantage.
Sure. Can I try to do a con check to give her guidance for our shift together?
To give Elaine guidance?
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead and make a concentration check.
That's an 8. Probably not.
You sit there and ask for guidance.
Hi,
from the
Elaine.
lady,
How's it
and
going?
nothing. Elaine, you watch as Fade sits there and he holds his new holy symbol, and he grabs it and then he places his hand on your shoulder and he speaks some words. And you've had this happen before. You normally feel this kind of warmth. Nothing happens, and he just sits there kind of holding on to you. And at first it's just like, okay, what's going on? And it happens for like 10 minutes. And eventually it just gets to the point where it's awkward.
Slowly pushes his hand away. Oh, I rolled a 1.
Oh my.
Jesus.
So Elaine is still trying to figure out exactly what that whole, holding thing meant. Fade, what'd you get?
I got rolled a 15 for perception,
Okay, and that
which
was
is my
with
best
disadvantage.
talent. No, it sure wasn't. Let's see how much worse it can get. 13.
13's not too bad. So throughout the night, Elaine, you're constantly kind of scooting closer to Elaine, and Elaine is constantly kind of scooting away. You guys kind of butt scoot your way around your little altar you've created.
Please go away.
Should probably roll to see what bad shit happens.
Oh
Oh
god.
God.
And
Dark
nothing
lady.
happens for the 4 hours that you guys are awake.
Fantastic.
Going to the farthest corner away from Faye.
All right. So Elaine kind of lays
So you're
down.
pretty much doing what Kata was doing last night.
Except it's completely out of awkwardness.
Oh, that's
I'm
adorable.
smirking at him the whole time.
You're a weirdo, man.
Kata wakes up for her designated shift. Fade goes into a meditative trance. Kata, go ahead and give me a
Perception?
Yep.
19.
Cool. Not a whole lot happens on yours as well. Get some mood music going on. Yeah, your watch ends pretty uneventfully. You notice that Fade is very different than you're used to seeing him. Like you've seen him rest before. You've done the whole watch thing before, and he just seems different this time. He has kind of a nervous energy to him. But yeah, Avok comes to relieve you.
Alright, I guess I'm sleeping.
Avok, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay, that's a 10.
We're on a
Cool.
roll.
Very perceptive. Again, you're kind of fixating on the fact that somebody else is using your axe. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
You bastard. Okay. It's a 19.
Okay. As you're sitting there, you start to feel this kind of pulling. This feeling that you should be going in a certain direction. But as soon as you realize that you have this feeling, it's gone.
That was weird.
Other than that, your watch ends pretty uneventfully. So you guys all get up. You can see Fade is making the final preparations for his ritual. You see he's placed this bowl of water on the altar. You see he's gotten some kind of flammable materials that have been placed next to the altar and lit, so that he has kind of these two kind of brazier torch type things next to it. It's all relatively hastily put together, and you can see all the equipment that he didn't burn, you know, his armor, his weapons, things like that, have been placed on the opposite side of the altar than he is. And he's sitting there on his knees. Go ahead and everyone make me investigation checks.
Oh god.
More smart stuff.
4.
10.
13.
So Avok, you're the only one that kind of looking at him. You notice that he's sweating, and you know, like especially at this time in the morning and everything like that, like it's relatively chilly where you guys are. You know, not enough that you know you can see your breath or anything like that, but it's kind of brisk being this far underground in the morning, and yet he is sweating profusely. The rest of you guys don't really notice it because you're kind of used to Fade just kind of glistening in the sunlight.
Yeah.
It's an Eladrin thing.
Okay. I don't know. I got nothing.
So Fade, you within the next, you're relatively certain you need to start this ritual within the next minute or so here. Do you have anything go ahead.
Do I need to be alone for this? Do I need to get them out of here?
No, actually, the ritual itself is generally done in front of. Normally, this is done in front of the church, basically. This is done in front of clerics, in front of paladins. Normally, the head of your order is there to start the ritual and everything like that.
Okay.
So it's very common for people to watch. There's also, depending on the transgression, there's also times when other clerics or family members will actually join for parts of the ceremony, and they'll meditate with you. So.
Okay. I'm just gonna just turn around. Look, I know I've been acting weird, but I really need you guys right now. If anything happens, I can't stop this ritual. So, please, watch my back.
How long is this gonna take?
Oh, we're gonna be here all day.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
So, Fade, did you want to ask any of them to join in the ritual?
Oh boy, I sure want to ask Elaine.
Now, the thing that you do know is anyone that joins in for the ritual risks the same consequences that you do. If this ritual goes poorly,
Then no.
it is
No.
instant
I
death.
put them through enough.
Okay.
Yeah, you already kind of killed me.
You're not all the way dead yet. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm not dead yet.
And I
Far
told
better.
you,
I think I'm going to
I
go for
told
a
you
walk
all
in the
before.
park.
When you do die, I will bring you back. Don't worry. You might not be you, but you'll be back.
I'm already not me.
See, you
I
made good on your
promise.
promise.
Just do your ritual.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna drag anyone in.
Okay.
I begin.
All right. So you guys watch as Fade kneels down in front of the altar, starts speaking a language that none of you guys understand. But you notice that the words themselves kind of seem to be awkward coming out of his mouth as well. You get the idea that the phrases that he's uttering are not a language that he speaks as much as words that he has been taught in a language he doesn't speak. So he sits there, starts speaking these words. You see that the little fires next to this altar start to flicker a little bit, and they start to get bigger. And they soon fill. Each one of these little fires was encircled by a small ring of relatively smooth stones. And the flames get bigger and bigger until they engulf the entire area that these stones encircled. And as Fade keeps speaking, you see him bring his hands up, and you see he has a stone that seems to have been sharpened and flaked off so that it comes to a point. And you watch him slash his palms and then go and pick up the holy symbol that he's carved, and then kind of wave both of his hands over each of the fires, and as drops of his blood drip into the fires, they change color from a bright red to a deep indigo. And then he places the holy symbol on the altar, and you guys start feeling massive amounts of energy start pulsing from the altar, start kind of enveloping Fade. You see his eyes turn pure, just a shade lighter than black. And then he's just kind of sitting there, mumbling in a language that none of you guys recognize. So as this happens, what do the rest of you guys want to do?
Okay, this shit's just way too creepy for my tastes.
Can't exactly just leave him here.
No, I'm not gonna leave him. I'm just gonna step outside.
So as you step outside, you notice that the little hovel that you guys have been using, which is where he's doing this ritual, is now glowing and radiating this deep indigo light. Like the whole building itself is starting to glow, and is becoming very obvious that something is happening here.
That's not gonna be good. Elaine, Kata, right? Apparently, whatever Fate is fucking doing is essentially is putting a target on us. So hopefully, people will ignore it, but I doubt it. So let's just be on our guard.
Okay.
Any preparations that you guys want to make?
Ava's just gonna scan the area just to...
Okay.
Me too.
Perception checks, please.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna stealth somewhere just in case, like in a
Really?
corner.
That's better.
11.
Okay.
23.
So neither of you guys notice anything out of the ordinary just yet. Avok, you do notice that a few hovels down, there is a group that stays there. You've never interacted with them before, but you noticed one of them kind of stuck their head out, saw something strange going on, and immediately went back into the hovel. Beyond that, nothing. Elaine, I guess what specifically do you want to do with the stealth? Do you just want to, go around a corner so you can watch from a distance, or what do you want to do?
Like, I want to be within the hovel, still having eyes on Fade.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Just in case anyone comes in, I'll be stealthed in there. So
Okay, go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
let's see. Oh god, I actually have to do math because that's a big number.
You rogues.
I hate my class. 27.
You think you're stealth. You blink out of existence. All right, so those are the prep steps that you guys take. Fade. As you go through the motions of this as best as you can remember, you slice your palms, you press the holy symbol between them, basically ignites the two braziers with the power of the Dark Lady, and then you feel this overwhelming sense of power completely envelop you in a way that has happened only once before to you, and that was when you first kind of pledged yourself to you were life cleric before, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you first pledged yourself to the gentle healer, you had this kind of baptism in his power, and then when you changed over to the Dark Lady, again you had this kind of baptism in her power, and so it's now kind of happening again. And what you were expecting to happen was you were expecting to open your eyes and be in this formless void in a circle of light, and you're not. As you sit there and you open your eyes, you're having a hard time focusing on anything. The whole world just seems very, very blurry to you, but you can hear sounds around you. And as you sit there and you're looking around, you're trying to get your eyes to focus, you hear more and more noise, but it starts to become more defined. And it's not just, random noises and things like that. You start hearing words, specifically Eladrin, a language that you haven't spoken since leaving, since Phaeton went back to the Platinum City, because nobody else speaks Eladrin around you. And to be perfectly honest, being a cleric, you were basically commanded to work and speak Common, because of how often you would be dealing with people that weren't good enough to speak the very pure language of Eladrin. So it was very bizarre for you to kind of hear these Eladrin words and phrases, and they sounded alien to you at first. Like, you could tell they were Eladrin, but you couldn't understand what they were saying. And then it starts to click, and your eyes start to focus a little bit, and you are back in the Platinum City. You are in one of the temples in the lower city, which is where all the temples are. They don't have any temples in the upper city. And as you look around, it looks like you are back in the temple of the gentle healer. And there was a room, and most temples have a room like this, where it's basically an amphitheater, where you have a raised center stage that has 4 columns, and then you have amphitheater-style seating in all 4 directions, with exits at each of the corners, so that people can come in and leave and things like that. And the room itself generally tends to be relatively large, about 100 feet on a side, and the roof goes up about 50 feet. It's a very big room. Did I just lose Fade? Because this is kind of important.
We're good.
Okay, good.
Mm.
So, as you're in there, you're looking around, you realize that the place that you were used to being was in the seats, and generally the head of the order would be standing in the center, lecturing on some aspect of the gentle healer, or some aspect of how to be selfless and how to serve the Eladrin best, and something like that. And that's not where you are. You are on your knees in the center of this relatively large platform, about 20 feet on a side, in the center of this room. You look down, and your wrists, on each wrist is a shackle that is connected to a chain that is connected to rings on the floor.
Oh, good.
And they give you just enough give to kind of raise your arms to about, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet off the floor, and that's about it. But they hold your arms out. And you can see standing before you is your first teacher. He is a relatively ancient Eladrin that has been a platinum... Oh, I can't remember ranking structure now. I created all this stuff. I should probably remember it, shouldn't I? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to remember all this stuff. Anyway, he's the highest rank you can get. And no one, none of the initiate clerics have ever been allowed to know his actual name. You were just, from the second you came in, he was Grand Master. That was how you addressed him. That was his name. He does have a name, and the higher ranking things, and like the higher ranking paladins and things like that, could call him that. He was just Grand Master to you. So yeah, you're sitting there, and Grand Master is standing in front of you, and he kind of he's looking down at you with this look of kind of disgust. And then he looks around, and you can see there are students completely filling this area, which is another thing that's kind of unique. In general, the lectures were not incredibly well attended. Like, you attended every so often, but it was never full. Not like this. The seats were packed. And so the Grandmaster turns around and goes, "So, today we have a rather unique situation, don't we?" And he comes and looks at you, and then looks back to the crowd. "This is what it looks like to betray your god. Do you see how pathetic this worthless creature looks? He has no power. It's been stripped away from him. He has no protection. He has no honor. He has no value, except one day to feed the worms of the earth with his corpse. Take a good look. This is what happens when you betray your God. This is what happens when you betray your vows, when you become honorless. And he turns back to you. What do you have to say for yourself?
Out of character, do I know that I have to respect this guy in this situation? Because I'm about to go off on him and talk some shit.
You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. You know that every other interaction you have ever had with him, it has been almost beaten into you that you have to respect this person. And you do know, because there's been, I think, 1 or 2 times in your life where he's been forced to use some of his abilities. This is not someone you would want to tangle with. He is incredibly powerful, and as much as he follows, he's a cleric of life, he has no problem smiting anyone with great impunity. Anyone that might endanger his particular quest for his god. So.
All right. So what? Can you say that one more time? I want to be very specific with my response.
So he said this is what happens when you betray your god. This is what happens when you betray your vow. And he looks to you, and you now realize that not only are you not wearing your traditional raiments, you're not wearing anything right now, aside from a loincloth.
Do I have my holy symbol anywhere on or near me?
You've got nothing but a loincloth.
Okay.
And so he says, again, he said you betrayed anything, and then if I remember correctly, he asked, what do you have to say for yourself? Basically giving you a chance to explain, whatever it is he's accusing you of. At this particular point, all you know is that he's claiming that you betrayed your god.
Yeah.
And according to the most recent memories that you have, you were no longer under his authority and haven't been for over a year.
Right.
So this is like a very bizarre situation to be in. This is not a person you ever thought you would see again.
Okay. So this whole time when he started to degrade me, the chains get tight and I'm leaning towards him a little bit, snarling. And my response to that, his question is, to you, nothing. I've already said what I need to say to my God, and I will say it to her again. And I stress the word her.
So he looks at you, and faster than you could have expected, you suddenly feel the right side of your face erupt in flame, and you realize that he has just backhanded you and has actually cut your cheek pretty deeply. Like you can feel the blood running down your neck. And he looks at you. You have learned nothing. You sit there thinking this is your power to control. You are this mighty, amazing being, and yet you are simply a conduit, a broken, misshapen, disgusting conduit. And now, you can't even claim that, can you? Please! And you see him just kind of hold his hand out, and in it materializes his his rank weapon, which is a platinum warhammer, if I remember correctly. I still haven't looked this thing up because I'm a super awesome dungeon master that remembers everything that I've ever written. Totally.
It's okay.
It's been well over a year since we've talked about this. It's all right.
Where is my thing? It's a picture. I feel really bad that I can't remember this because you have no idea how long I spent on this crap. All right. Yes, Warhammer. So he has his platinum Warhammer, and he sits there and he brings it up, and you kind of prepare yourself for the impact because getting hit with a Warhammer in armor hurts. Getting hit with a Warhammer wearing nothing.
I expect to die at this point.
Yeah.
I'm more or less prepared for it.
And so as the Warhammer comes down, you hear this sound like thunder to your left. And you look, and the chains that are holding you to the altar, or the dais here, on your left arm have broken under the weight of the strike of the Warhammer. And then raises it up again and slams it down into your right. You hear this thunderous sound, and your right arm is now no longer adhered to the platform. And you see him reach into his robe and throw down this holy symbol in front of you. The holy symbol itself is the holy symbol of the Dark Lady, which is very bizarre because he shouldn't.
No one should have that.
Yeah. She's not spoken about in polite company. Like, everybody knows who she is, but there are no clerics. According to the overall Eladrin Society, there are no clerics of the Dark Lady. And so he throws it down and goes, "Go ahead. Show me the power you have." And he just kind of stands back.
Fuck it. Go big or go home. How far away is it from me?
It's literally right in front of you. You can just pick it up.
Oh, God. All right. Yeah, I pick it up with both hands.
Okay?
I don't do anything.
As you
I
sit
just
there
hold it.
and try to pick it up, it doesn't move. And you think, well, it must be caught on something. And so you start, going around and trying to get your fingers underneath it. And as you attempt to lift it, it feels incredibly heavy. Like it's the heaviest thing in the world that has ever existed. Go ahead and make me a strength athletics check.
Alrighty. Total of 8.
All right. You sit there and try as you might. Everything. You sit there and your fingers start to bleed with how much you try and lift this up. Nothing. You can't seem to pick it up. And so the Grand Master turns and he goes, "Really? Seems that you are not even worthy enough to hold the symbol of your god. That class," and he goes back to the rest of the group. "That is what happens. All the power you think you hold, all of the authority, all of the pure divine might that flows through your veins can be taken away, and you can be found unfit to even hold your symbol." And he turns to you and he goes, "But you're here for redemption, aren't you? Perhaps I should help you." You see him pick up the holy symbol with no effort whatsoever. And there's still bits of your blood on it. And you see him take out one of the chains that was holding you to the ground. Big, thick chain. And you notice now something that you didn't see previously, that there's this massive iron ring on the end of your holy symbol. And he threads this big, thick chain through it, comes over and fastens the chain around your neck, so that the holy symbol is now hanging around your neck. And as soon as he lets it go, you face plant as the holy symbol pulls you down. And you kind of start to focus and fight against it. Go ahead and make me another strength athletics check.
17.
So you sit there and you fight with everything in your being, and you pull up and you eventually get yourself to a sitting position. But the weight of the holy symbol is immense. It's like you have a battleship hanging from your neck. Full galleon, 40 arbalest strong galleon just weighing down. He goes, well, it seems that there is still some strength in this one. So I ask you again, what do you have to say for yourself? Why shouldn't I smite you where you sit?
I look at the ground now, look it down at the symbol, and I made a mistake. My arrogance got the best of me, and I am humbled by your words.
Humbled? You are humbled. And yet you sit there defiant, holding your head high with a symbol that no longer belongs to you. And yet you are humbled by me. C-Class, this is why we have the Paladins. When there is one this far gone, who does not deserve the right of recompense, there is but one thing left to do. And suddenly you feel a presence behind you. And as you kind of turn and look over your shoulder a little bit, there is a figure clad in black armor, wearing a helmet that has a face mask that completely obscures any ability to tell even what race this figure is. But whatever they are massive. And holding in his hands is this great sword. The biggest sword you have ever seen in your life. You can see it has a blood channel that goes from the tip of the sword all the way to the hilt. And there's actually a little, what looks like a hollow gem where the blood can collect. And he's just standing there with this sword held aloft. What do you want to do?
Well, it's a dark figure. I know I've got no chance here, so I'm just going to try to lean my bleeding face over and see if I can aim some of the droplets of my blood towards that channel.
It's 2 feet higher than where your head is.
He's
like
holding it up.
He's
okay.
holding it like this, basically. So in order for blood to get into that gem, it would have to travel down the blood channel on the sword itself.
Can I try to lift the holy? Well, I'm going to try to grab the holy symbol and not like take it off, but just see if I can lift it up at all.
The holy symbol has lessened in weight because before, like again, you couldn't even lift it. Now that it's around your neck, it's still incredibly heavy, but you can kind of cradle it in your hands. It's still, with the fact that you're now lifting not only with your hands, with your shoulders and your back and your, your core muscles,
Yeah.
you get that extra bit of lift.
I'm not going to make a threatening, or well, this is probably threatening, but I'm not going to take any sudden movements. But I'm going to try to stand up,
Okay.
even with this guy behind me.
Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. 21.
All right, so you sit there and you start by holding the holy symbol. And you grip it hard enough that it cuts into your palms a little bit. And then you move one leg and plant your foot. You move the other one and plant your foot. And you spread them out as wide as you can and start lifting yourself. And it's like you're lifting a building. But slowly and surely, you get to a standing position. And you yourself are kind of a big guy. And the Grand Master is not. You, at this point, are technically looking down to him. He's probably about 6 inches shorter than you are. But as you turn around, the paladin behind you is a good foot and a half taller than you. Just staring at you. You can't even see his eyes through the eye holes in his mask.
Yep.
It's just darkness and black. He hasn't moved or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Grand Master isn't doing anything anymore either. The whole room is just staring at you.
Once I'm fully stood up, is he looking at me or is his back turned?
Who?
The Grand Master.
Grand Master's still looking at you.
I turn around and look at the paladin. I know that face guard is down, but can I get a sense of familiarity even by how this person is standing?
Make an insight check.
$11.
He's a paladin. He's a big paladin.
Okay.
Growing up as and learning as a cleric, you always had a very healthy fear of the paladins in general. This is the biggest paladin you have ever seen.
Okay, well. I'll grab that holy symbol again and try to cast a spell with it.
What spell would you like to cast?
False life.
Okay. Make a spell attack roll for me.
12.
So you sit there, concentrating on this false life spell, relatively simple spell, and you can feel energy kind of flowing through you, but it's slow, like molasses in winter, where it's just, it feels like it's just barely chugging along, and it's just not getting to where you want it to go fast enough. And as you utter the words and do the components that you're supposed to for this spell, no energy comes to it. The energy is still moving its way to where it needs to go.
I'm looking at the paladin at this point to see if there's any reaction as I do this.
Not moving
Then
at all.
I'll
You'll
just
hear from behind you, now you are trying to use the power that we have denied you in defiance.
I put my hand out to the paladin
Okay.
as though I want him to give me his sword.
Okay. Make a persuasion check.
Oh, Jesus.
That'll go over well, right?
I've never once done that with this guy.
You probably have an awesome charisma, right? Clerics
I
are
rolled a
charisma-based.
17.
That's not bad. With your mod, that turns into
Or I rolled a 16 plus 1, so 17.
17. Okay. So you sit there and you kind of reach out, and the paladin, who's just been kind of staring forward in your direction but not looking at you, tilts his head down and sees your hand reaching out.
Not aggressively.
And he
Open-
flips
open
the
palm.
sword upside down, slams it into the dais that you guys are on, a good 2 feet. The sword itself is massive enough that even sticking 2 feet in, it's about like waist level. Like the handle is about waist level with you right now.
Okay, then I will. God, I don't want to do this, but I'm not gonna grab the sword. I want to put my bleeding hands over the sword. I'm trying to get blood into this channel.
Technically,
I
the
don't-
channel's upside down now.
But there's a space. There's a. Well, okay.
So the way that works, like, let's say you have the handle
it's
like
fine.
this. You've got the blade coming up like this.
Yeah.
A blood channel is a channel in the middle of the blade. It's just a little indent that people have argued for years about what it was actually there for. But in this particular one, the blood channel goes right to the hilt, and right here, there is a gem. At the top of it, there's a hole in it. Right now, it's upside down
Okay.
because the blade has been plunged into the ground. So there's no possible way to put blood into the gem.
Okay. Then I'm gonna turn back to the Grand Master and say, I'm not giving up. I'm here to atone. I'm not worthless. I have value. And she has given me a bond, and I will honor that bond to my last breath, and then after as well.
So he sits there and he grabs you by the shoulder and pulls you down to where you're at eye level with him. He goes, "Exactly how much longer do you think it will be before you breathe your last breath?"
It doesn't matter.
And as soon as you say that, you feel a sharp pain in your back and in your stomach. And you look down, and the greatsword is protruding out of you and into the Grand Master, where you've basically been skewered with him. And as you sit there kind of fighting the pain, everything disappears. The sword disappears, the amphitheater disappears, the Grand Master, the Paladin, everybody is gone. Returning to you guys, about 4 hours have passed at this point. Elaine, since you're in the room with him, you've been seeing some very strange things. You saw blood start dripping onto the floor, and as you looked, there was this cut on his face that appeared out of nowhere. He hasn't moved, so this cut just appeared. And you see him, like his facial expression change, like he's struggling against something, like he's trying to do something very difficult. And like I said, over the next 4 hours, you see him strain and grunt and eventually reach out and grab the holy symbol And then you see his entire body go rigid, and you see blood start to form at his back and at his front and start to kind of run down and stain the kind of sackcloth robe he's wearing. And then he relaxes again. And while the stains are still there, it doesn't look like any more blood is forming. Avok and Kata, you guys are outside, and over the 4 hours that have passed thus far, people are starting to notice. No guards have shown up, but go ahead and roll me perception checks, both of you guys.
Okay. 13.
Mm-hmm. I think you might be muted, Avok. Here we go.
20.
20? Okay.
Yes.
Kata, as you look around, you see people are kind of wandering around as they do, and a few of them have noticed and have given this whole area a wide berth. Like, people will see this giant glowing, not giant, but this glowing building, and will just about face and walk away. Avok, you've recognized two of the people that have shown up over the last 4 hours as people that run with Scar's gang.
Oh, shit.
So you're relatively certain that by this point, Scar is aware that something is happening here. Because it's been probably about an hour since you saw these guys, but you don't know if they're going to do anything, but you're pretty certain that Scar knows something's up.
Oh, boy.
So with this information, does anyone want to change what they are doing? If you guys want, you can go back in and talk to Elaine, who's been in there with Fade the entire time. You can stay outside. You can, try to make traps. Whatever you guys want to do.
Oh, you're on one night.
Avok just got to check in on Fade real quick. I'm gonna see if I can think of something here. Avok's actually gonna try and set some traps. I don't know what though.
Okay.
Trying to.
Where you guys are right now, you have rubble. Basically, the other side of the street is rubble from collapsed buildings and things like that. While it's possible to come over that, it's unstable enough that it's not safe to do that. So you have the opposite side of the street from where you are is relatively safe from people coming unless they can fly somehow. You have the street here, just to make things simple, runs east-west. To the west is kind of a courtyard about 200 feet down, where multiple streets kind of meet up in kind of a roundabout type thing. And there's some intact buildings, some rubble buildings there. To the east is the road just keeps going for probably about 1,000 feet. And there's a road to the right that T intersections with the road that you guys are on, and it then kind of curves and goes out of your line of view. So you basically have the west, where a large group of, and the street itself is about 20 feet wide. So not a really big street.
Okay.
So you have the kind of roundabout to the west, where a large group of people could form, and you have the very long road to the east, where people could come from. And there is rubble all around you. If you have specific things you want to look for, just let me know, and I'll tell you whether or not you can find them, or if you need to make a check for that. What would you like to do?
God.
The road here is, or the ground here is a mixture of packed earth and sand. So there's some places where it's very, very firm, packed earth type stuff. Other places where it's much more sandy and things like that. But packed earth and sand is what you have here for ground.
Fuck. I have a little difficulty because my brain is really tired.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Just have the wrong music playing. There we go.
let's see. What can I do? Okay, so I guess what Avok wants to try and do, maybe, I mean, he doesn't really have much experience with setting traps. I mean, he was pretty much.
Well, you have experience in as much as part of your training. You know how to recognize them.
True.
And you know how to bypass them and how the basics of how they work as much as you need to be able to get through them. Because again, you were part of a scout regiment plus cannon fodder. Like you weren't just straight up we throw you at the bad guys. Like there was instances where you would just be sent to the places they didn't want to send a ladring because it was too dangerous or it was too messy or something like that. So
Right.
the fact that you lived as long as you did, you picked up a little bit of trap making in as much as you know how to break them. A little bit of tactics in as you know how to spot an ambush. You know where good places to set up ambushes are. Things like that.
Okay. So I have right about to the.
And you have tons of rubble. And rubble can be everything from like stone and rocks and stuff like that to broken beams, to broken pottery.
Okay.
If you would like to make a, let's call it a history check.
Yeah.
Go for it. That'll
fine.
see if what you can remember as far as traps that you've dealt with before.
7.
The only obvious trap that comes to mind is there's a lot of heavy rocks on the other side. With beams put in the right place, you could set up a makeshift rock slide to where you would trigger it by, pulling the beam out or something like that, and tons of rubble would come down and bury someone. That's the most your brain can come up with right now.
I'm glad my brain can at least come up with something. Alright, okay. It's not much, but hopefully it'll work. Okay. Kata, I might need you.
Yes.
Thinking of setting up a makeshift rock slide just in case we have some unwelcome visitors. And I think you can turn into beasts that can help out with that in some way. So it maybe helps me.
I also have Trapper's Kit to help. Like a hunter's trap.
Yeah, Kata, you would be much more familiar with traps.
Trapping?
Well, traps specifically used to hinder things that you were going to eat. So,
Yeah,
bear traps, nooses, things like that. are things that you're very used to creating. Even pit traps are things that you used when you were surviving on your own.
Mhm.
So
I'll help whatever way, whatever I can.
so
Yeah.
the question you have: where do you want to set up the trap? Do you want to set it to the west or the east?
Where were Scar's allies? Like,
From where you guys are, they're technically. I have to remember how a compass works. They're north of you, a couple of miles actually, or no, about about a mile away, north of you. So if they did come, they'd have to come from the east or the west because that's the only way to get in to where you guys are. But yeah, they're to the north.
okay.
All right.
We could possibly, like, set it, like, a bit in front of the entrance, maybe? But it would possibly get us too.
Basically, wherever you make this rock slide is going to create difficult terrain in that area once it's pulled. Because again, you're going to have all this broken shit covering
Right.
around there.
Okay.
Okay.
So east or west, which way do you guys want?
Remind me, the roundabout was east.
Roundabout
west.
is west. East is just the straight road.
East.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and both you guys make survival checks for me.
Okay.
Kata, you can make it with advantage because you haven't made this before, you're familiar with trap making.
It's a good thing, too, because I just rolled a 1.
That would have worked well.
And I rolled another 1! What the heck?
That's impressive. Would you get a for survival?
17.
So I got a total of 8.
Okay. Still not horrible. So you guys set it up. You try and you run a rope basically from the brace that's holding it up. You do your best to make it look as natural as possible, and you try and hide the rope so that if someone comes from that direction, you'll be able to trigger the trap and go from there. Cool. So that's 4 hours spent. Elaine, is there any changes that you want to make to what you are doing?
I mean, I still want to. I want to check Fade and see if he's all right, but I don't want to touch him.
Okay, make a medicine check.
Because you just randomly started bleeding and shit.
Yeah, this is weird. Like, as far as crazy shit that you've seen, especially being a half elf, you've seen some weird shit. This tops the list.
Just keep getting weirder and weirder. That's a 13.
13. So looking at him, he looks rough. He's a little bit pale. He's sweating profusely. And looking at him without touching him, you can't see where the blood is coming from. You don't see any open wounds on him. Obviously, the sackcloth is covering. If there was an open wound on his chest or his back where the stains are, but like the blood coming from his cheek, there's no open wound there. There's just blood.
Weird ass shit.
Again, really, really weird. Even compared to what's happened recently, this is weird.
I'm gonna keep watching him.
Okay. I'll let you keep. Well, you went and moved, so go ahead and make another stealth check for me. 443.
I wish. 18.
18. Still not bad. You think you're stealthed. All right. So while all this is happening, Fade. Again, everything has disappeared. The pain in your stomach and in your back is gone, but it's still tender. The pain in your cheek is gone, but it still feels moist. And again, you're in a different place. Again, you're having a hard time figuring out where you are. Your eyes aren't focusing. You're just looking around, trying to figure out what was going on. And you start, just as before, you start hearing familiar sounds. You're hearing people speaking common. You hear screams of agony every so often. And you smell the smell of rotting flesh, of preservatives and things like that that are used to keep bodies as well as you can. You hear the telltale sounds of magic being used. And as your eyes begin to focus, you are in a relatively large room that's kind of partitioned off. There are pillars every about 15 feet that kind of partition it off into smaller rooms. And there's some, between some of the pillars, there's curtains, and some of them are just wide open. There are tables set up with various magical devices just about everywhere. And you can feel that you are not really you're underground at this particular point. And as you look around more, you start to remember, and your eyes start to focus, and you are in the experimentation labs where you learned how to be a servant, not just how to be a servant of the Dark Lady, but how to utilize that power in service of the Eladrin Empire. And so in front of you is a mutilated corpse that, having done this over and over and over again, you know that the corpse in front of you is just about useless at this point. You're going to have to call for a fresh one if you want to continue working. Around you, you can hear the sounds of other students experimenting and doing other things. This was your life for about 6 months. What do you want to do?
I want to see if I can leave this room and go to that audience chamber that I was in before.
From your knowledge, you know that the audience chamber is on the opposite side. Like the temple to the gentle healer is as far away from this place as is possible. You are roughly about a mile below the surface of the lower city.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get back to that room, you would have to go through basically the entirety of the underground temple to the Dark Lady and through the streets of the lower city to get all the way over there. So you're talking about hours of travel.
Where would, I know that there were no clerics or paladins of the Dark Lady, but if there were, where would they be?
There are. You were one of them. However, the greater Eladrin population doesn't know you guys exist. You were still, like everybody else, thought that you were still a cleric of the Gentle Healer while you were doing this. It's a secret society. But all around you are more clerics that are doing very similar experiments that you're doing, and there are paladins in here as well.
Is there a really mean-looking one with the giant sword that I could go talk to?
Make me an investigation check.
Total of 9.
You do not see the paladin that was in the other room with you. In general, the paladins, from your memory, the paladins are not quite as strict with the clerics of the Dark Lady, simply because you guys are kind of trapped where you are. If something major happened, like an uprising or something, which is what the paladins are there to prevent, they could trap you down here, flood it with poisonous gases, and just kill you all off.
Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. I think I'm going to go back or stand at my workstation, call for a new corpse, and do whatever it looks like everyone else is doing, like the prescribed task.
You see a skeletal servant come over, pick up your corpse, drag it off. You see a zombie servant come over and plop down, from what you can smell, a relatively fresh corpse. As you start examining it, they plop the corpse down face down. Just because the skeletal servants and the zombie servants are not the sharpest things in the world. Like, they do what they're supposed to do, but they're not intelligent at all. So they flop this corpse there, completely bare-ass naked. And as you're looking it over, the corpse itself is extremely muscular, obviously some sort of warrior. And as you're looking at it, the corpse is scarred immensely. There are lashes that you recognize because you felt them before from whips. Obviously, this creature was a slave of some sort. You can see cuts and things from weapons. Piercing and slashing weapons actually hit it. You look, the arms themselves are cut pretty bad, but again, rather massive. And as you look on the back shoulder, it seems there's a brand on this particular human. The brand is that of what looks kind of like a bull.
Oh, shit. Okay, I flip it over right away.
As you flip it over, Avok's dead face is staring up at you.
What's the cause of death?
Make me a medicine check.
Crit fail?
No idea. It's dead. It's obviously dead. You don't see, you see a few open wounds. None of them look bad enough that it would have died from them. As you're sitting there looking it over, you feel a bony hand rest on your shoulder. As you look at it, you see this very, very frail looking hand, and you trace it back up to the platinum warhammer that runs this temple. Standing there, and again, this is another person that you were never actually told their name. He was just referred to as Deathwalker. And so Deathwalker is standing there and goes, turns and goes, so, seems that you have another experiment to perform. How did your last experiment go?
I feel like I learned something.
Well, as much as we're very happy that you're learning so much with us, you've been here for quite some time, and yet you have developed nothing that has any use to the Empire. Now, when you came to us, we thought you had potential. We thought that you were special, you were gifted. That's why we gave you this position. You have immense power inside of you. What is holding you back?
It's not my power. I'm afraid to use it.
Yes. Fear. Fear is a mighty cage. It can trap the most powerful of men inside it. It can paralyze you. It can strip you of everything you have. Is it fear that is preventing you from serving the Empire and your God correctly?
It has to be part of it.
Well, we need to conquer that fear. And I think in front of you is a perfect way to do that. What is it you fear, Fade?
I fear hurting those who don't deserve it. I thought I could help protect the Empire by maybe preserving life by reanimating those who had already lost it. Do you think it's time? Am I ready to at least try this?
Try to reanimate the dead. I've seen your attempts at reanimation. We have them wandering the halls. Who do you think brought you your new corpse here? No, reanimation of the dead is basic. Any cleric who studied necromancy can do that. What is it you fear, Fade? What fear paralyzes you, traps you, prevents you from fulfilling your duty?
I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid I don't have the knowledge to do what needs to be done. I feel like I've just been floundering, trying to find my own way. I need a sign.
Well,
I don't know where to look anymore.
that is a very, very interesting problem that you have, isn't it?
Deathwalker, what can I do? How did you become as powerful as you are?
I became the Deathwalker of the Dark Lady by embracing my fear, by letting it overcome me and using it, making it serve me instead of imprison me. Fear is a powerful tool. All creatures know fear. Fear of the dark. Fear of what they don't understand. Fear of death. I use that fear. It is mine to command. What do you fear, Fade?
I fear not being able to fulfill my promise.
And he sits there and he spins you around and pulls you up by your tunic right into his face, and you can smell just this awful, awful breath just passing over. He goes, "What do you fear, Fade? What specifically do you fear? What is paralyzing you? What is trapping you? What is controlling you at this very moment?"
Not being in control. I don't know why I'm here. I've been here before. This isn't right. I don't understand what's going on.
And be in control. You have something in front of you right now. Something that is completely within your power. You can do whatever you want to this corpse. Control it. Bind it to your will.
Yeah, we're gonna. I want no.
What do you want to do, Fade?
I'm going to try to revivify, bring him back from what shouldn't be possible.
Okay.
He's clearly been dead for a while. This can't work. It's not
Well,
possible
again,
for this
when
to
he
work.
was plopped on your desk, he smelled fresh. It was a fresh death.
Then I'm going to start praying and
Okay.
see if I can't bring this
Make me a
person
spell
back.
attack roll with advantage.
16.
Okay. That's a D12.
That's fine.
Okay. So you sit there and you focus, and again, you can feel the power slowly starting to return. You know, the last time that you were here, you didn't have the control that you have now. You would never have been able to attempt a spell like this. So you sit there and you focus, and you see the Death Walker standing behind you as you kind of force necromantic energy into it. Because if I remember correctly, Revivify is still a necromancy spell. Which is weird, but cool. I'm going to check on that just to be on the safe side.
Come on. Look in the clerk section.
Conjuration?
Yeah, it's necromancy.
Yep, 3rd level necromancy. Cool. So you're sitting there and you're infusing this necromantic energy in there, and you can hear the Deathwalker behind you going, "Yes, use your power. Infuse the dark energy into it. Bind it to you." Evok, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, Christ.
Say, okay.
At that point, you're like, "Wait a minute. This is in Dreamland."
21.
21. So as you're sitting there waiting for something to happen, you feel this pain in your chest, like your heart has stopped beating. And you start having a hard time breathing. Elaine, you notice that Fade has now begun to glow this deep indigo, and you see this bolt of light shoot out from him and hit the wall and apparently pass through it, but you can't actually see what's on the other side. Kata, you see this blue deep indigo bolt of energy kind of strike Avok, and you see him start clasping at his chest and gasping for breath. And as your vision starts to tunnel and get smaller and smaller, you instantly feel this strange warmth come from your shoulders and slowly kind of overflow your body. You start breathing a little bit easier. The tunnel vision starts to widen, and you're back.
What the fuck?
Fade, as you're sitting there and you're infusing life into the corpse, you see Avok on the table struggling to breathe and everything, and finally he takes a breath and sits up, and the Deathwalker grabs your shoulder and throws you to the ground and goes, "No! That's not why you're here! What do you have to say for yourself?" And he takes a knife and presses it up against Avok's throat. "Do I have to do everything myself?"
Do not hurt him, please. I can't lose anyone else.
"Is that what you fear, Fade?"
It must be. This is. I can't do this alone anymore. I have people that I care about I don't want to lose them.
You see him bring the knife back and start thrusting it towards Avok's neck. What do you do?
I'm going to try to manifest a spiritual weapon and knock that out of his hand.
Make a spell attack roll.
24.
What is your spiritual weapon?
Mace.
All
Actually,
right.
it used to be a mace. I'm going to do a warhammer. Because
Okay.
everyone around me seems to be using warhammers.
Well, that's the high-ranking weapon, so...
Well, yeah, exactly.
Okay, not a problem. So you sit there, and in the split second that you see that he is going to kill Avok very effectively, like severing whatever the jugular and the other one in the neck, like this is going to be death, instant. You sit there and you concentrate, and without the feeling that you've been fighting this entire time, you feel the magic just happen. And you see this warhammer kind of appear in your hand, and then you point, and the warhammer disappears from your hand, and it appears right next to him and takes this swing and knocks the dagger across the room. And as that happens, the room shatters. The image of Avok shatters. Everything shatters into nothingness. Back to you guys. So Elaine, you just saw something really weird happen. No more blood this time, but now Fade has turned into a Christmas light and is shooting off blue shit.
Having a lone rave.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the boots, 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 boots.
I'm gonna kind of peek my head outside the hovel because of the beam of light. I'm just like,
Okay.
what?
You see Avok on his knees, kind of breathing pretty heavy. Avok, you have no idea what just happened, but it felt like you were back on Corin's Island when the Revenant struck you dead. You had a very similar feeling to this, only you didn't come back. So you're sitting there. Kata, you saw Avok drop down to his knees after this
Yes,
beam
I
of
did.
blue light hit him. What do you guys want to do?
Avok, what happened?
I don't fucking know.
Did you guys see a beam of blue light come out here?
What do you mean come out here?
Fade is putting on a light show in here. Beam of light shot out of his body.
Oh,
It hit the wall. I don't know if it passed through or anything, but
I'm gonna give the shit out of him later if he...
if he doesn't die in his ritual, he's dying.
well, if he doesn't die, I might end up killing him myself.
He was bleeding a lot earlier, and now he's shooting out lights, and I am weirded the fuck out.
How long has it been since he's been weird? I mean, we know he's always been weird, but since this started...
How long has it been?
yeah, how much time has passed?
When Avok got hit, you guys are approaching hour 6 now.
Oh boy.
And how long is the ritual supposed to last?
12 to 16.
Yeah, 12 to
Oh
16.
god.
Oh, fuck.
We're halfway.
Oh, God.
Has everything been okay out here, though?
As you say that, I need perception checks from everybody.
Okay.
Joy. That's an 8.
21.
Okay.
18.
All right. So Elaine, you're kind of focused on the fact that Avok looks much more pale than he normally does. Kata and Avok, you guys, Kata a little bit before Avok, you guys both hear something relatively familiar. It's the sound of a crossbow being drawn back and clicking into position.
Uh,
Oh,
And
shit.
you guys both look as a crossbow bolt comes flying out towards Avok. Avok, you have enough time to kind of throw your head back, and the bolt goes there and just barely misses skinning your neck.
oh.
And you see what looks like half a dozen people coming from the west.
Oh.
Ah, shit.
What would you guys like to do?
I'm sorry I made that decision.
It's okay. I was gonna make the same decision. Fucking kidding me. Well, this is not good.
Can I stealth back into the hovel and draw my crossbow?
They've seen you. You're kind of hard to miss, so
Freaking
this
golden
is all
armor.
happening like split second. What do you guys all want to do? This is not going to be like a full-on initiative type battle. If you guys remember back to when you were fleeing the from the dragon, that kind of cinematic type battle thing. That's what you guys have.
Yeah, from the crack.
So start with Avok. You've got 6 people, one of which has just shot a crossbow bolt at you. What do you want to do?
Okay, well. Okay, the East Post. Avok is gonna get off his knees. Draws out the longsword. Alright, I know Scar sent you little bastards. So, I'm gonna give you guys a warning. You fuck with us, I'm gonna send you back to Scar in pieces.
An intimidation check.
Gladly.
I'm going to join him. I'm going to transform into an allosaur and growl menacingly.
Okay, you have advantage, Avok.
Nice. Alright, well, first roll was good. 18.
Okay, you see 2 of them kind of look at each other and start to very much doubt. Kata, go ahead and roll me an intimidation check.
Okay.
I'll give you advantage too.
Okay. 16.
16. So between the 2 of you, you scare away 3 of them. Because there's a giant dinosaur and a really wicked-looking dude with a sword. There's still 3 more. Elaine, what would you like to do?
How far away are they from like where I am in the hovel?
Let's say you can get to them if you want to. Again, cinematic.
Oh no, I'm staying here and drawing my crossbow, not leaving Fade.
Oh, okay. Let's
I'll
say,
take like a
they're,
shot
let's
at
say they're within range. Again, this isn't following rules of combat as much as it is. Imagine you're in an action movie. Describe what you would want your character to do, and I'll make you roll something to see if you succeed or fail.
I just want to try and shoot like a crossbow bolt that's like threatening enough to try and get the other 3 to kind of doubt. Just kind of maybe hit one of them.
Okay. So the place that you're in is rubble everywhere, and it's not stable or anything like that. So if you want, you could try to shoot something and cause a makeshift rock slide near them. There's nothing that's going to work nearly as well as the trap you guys made, or the other 2 guys made, that you may or may not even know about. But it'll at least be a big enough noise that if you play it off right, might be able to worry them.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Just something to try and.
Make me, because this is gauging how kind of solid these things are, make me an insight check.
That's a 7.
So you sit there and you fire.
Actually, Hold off, Jody. I have my point of inspiration. I'm going to give it to
Okay.
Elaine.
Roll again,
Roll it.
Elaine.
Okay. It was worse.
All right. So you fire off the bolt, and it impacts some rubble and doesn't seem to do anything. So the other three kind of rush at you guys. Avok, you take... Math is hard. You take 14 points of damage dealing with one of them. Elaine, you take... $10 points of damage dealing with the second one. Kata, you take... Which really doesn't matter, but...
Giant freaking dinosaur.
You actually take 17 points of damage dealing with the third one. As they run in, you guys get into close quarter combat. Avok, the guy first comes up to you and thrusts a dagger at you, and you parry it away, but he comes back with another one that gets you right in the side and digs pretty deep. But as his hand is kind of stuck there, you decapitate him with your longsword. Elaine, the other guy, comes close to you, and as he's running, he actually fires a crossbow bolt that hits you right in the shoulder. As he gets close enough to bring his sword to bear, your dragon tail lashes out, almost without you thinking, from your wrist, and actually impales him through the throat and rips back. Kata, the guy, just runs at you and cuts this big chunk out of your leg, which makes you just cry out in anger, and in one bite, most of him is not there anymore.
Nom nom nom.
Back to Fade.
Medias.
Oh, joy.
Gotta hide the bodies, guys.
Oh god, we have to.
So
I'm
as you
not
do
hiding
that,
the body.
the world around you shatters to 1,000,000 pieces. And this time, no blinking required, you can focus. You're surrounded by darkness, except for a 10-foot in diameter circle of light coming from somewhere you can't see. All around, there's this shifting, like the darkness has mass and form. It's shifting and moving. You hear whispers and words, and you get feelings and everything from it. What would you like to do?
As per the usual, I dropped to a knee, but this time I dropped to both my knees and put my hands on the ground in front of me, and I whisper. No, actually, I don't say anything. She didn't tell me I could talk yet.
You hear the sound of footsteps on a hard surface, walking around. Why have you come before me?
I made a mistake, and I am forever. No, but I made a mistake, and I will forever have to deal with that. But I am and always will be your servant, and if you'll let me, I would love to. No, I would beg to do your bidding. I made the mistake of thinking I knew what that was.
I gave you a gift, a sign of trust. It has been centuries of your time since I trusted a mortal with my deepest, darkest secret. You have betrayed my trust by abusing my gift to you.
I know that now. I can promise.
Is difficult to earn, but what is more difficult is to regrow that trust once it has been broken. There is a stain on you, and at that point you feel a wetness on your chest. And without thinking, you open your eyes and look down, and your chest itself is dripping with this dark, black substance. And you start trying to wipe it off. Again, without thinking, this is almost automatic. You start trying to wipe it off, and everything that it touches, it stains this same black color. Your hands become black. Your shoulders and your arms, the skin itself, turns this deep, ebony darkness. And then you hear, "Do you understand my problem?" Fade. And this is the first time she's ever used your name. And it's like you were hit with a blast of thunder. Your entire body vibrates as she says your name.
Yeah, it does.
What do you do?
I understand. And at this point, I'm still looking down, but I'm like kind of back up on my knees, upright. And not arrogantly, but I'm going to say, I need your guidance to do your will. I am mortal, and we make mistakes. I regret making that mistake because it involved you, but I am not you. I need to know what you want me to do. I can promise you that I will not act on your behalf again unless you specifically nudge me to do so.
To receive guidance, you must ask for it. Remember that as you move forward, what you did was wrong. But, and you feel the familiar weight of her hand on your shoulder. I still have need of you. Your life, your purpose continues. What you have done today, not many have attempted. Even fewer have survived It has been painful. It has been difficult. You have given your worldly possessions in an attempt to atone for your mistakes. Of this, I am proud. There are not many who could survive these trials. You are once again my champion. But going forward, you must remember to receive guidance. You must ask and listen before you act. Rise, my champion.
Is that stuff still all over my hand and arm?
As you look down, it's not.
Damn. Okay. All right.
However, there's still a small spot on your chest that doesn't seem like it's going anywhere right now.
Okay, just because Fade's an idiot, he's going to take his hand and try to be real slick as he's standing up and wipe his chest and smear down his face.
It's just a stain now. It's not it doesn't rub off anymore. It's just a stain on your chest.
Okay, he stands up while looking down, but his chest is real puffed out. She said his name.
You have spent enough time attempting to pay for your mistake. It is time for you now to awaken. And with that, you are in the hovel again. Floating in front of you, about a foot, is your holy symbol that you carved from wood, which has now been transformed. It is still some sort of wood that you've never seen before, but it again is this deep indigo, and it has the gem that you placed in it now has that same deep indigo glow to it, and it slowly floats down and lands in your hand, which the cuts that you made before the ritual are now completely healed. And as it goes into your hand and you grasp it, the two braziers, and the building stops glowing. For you guys outside, the building stops glowing. And everything seems to kind of go back to the way it was before the ritual started. It's now been about 12 hours. Fade, you have level 1 exhaustion. But you can feel your clerical prowess and power has returned.
Is it quiet in the hovel?
As quiet as it is in this city. The city itself is never really that quiet.
Okay. I look around. Is anyone in here at the moment?
Elaine is. Elaine looks at you kind of weird.
Just ear to ear, super toothy, grin.
Guys, it's gotten weirder.
Well, at least he's back.
And I rush outside and give Avok a hug. Or try to.
Okay. No, Avok just stops the short. Okay, first off, just smacks him upside the head. As for whatever the fuck you did to me a few hours ago, I know it was you.
It was me. I saved you again.
Whatever. Are you fixed?
I fucking throw up a spiritual weapon and a spirit guardian and fucking
Spells are working the way
thaumaturgy
they're
my eyes.
supposed to.
And I'm back, baby.
Oh, good. Maybe you can do a little healing because we just had a little visit earlier.
Oh yeah,
Is anyone else coming towards us?
No. You think the sound of an Allosaurus destroying someone was enough to perhaps convince them not to return?
Oh yeah, that reminds me. While Faye was doing his trans after that little encounter, Avok took the severed head and just put it on a spike, just
Decorate the hall.
and a poorly written sign that says "fuck off."
Okay.
This is
So
our home.
while the rest of you guys are just healing up, Avok's doing arts and crafts.
Yeah.
yeah. I throw some heal at everybody, and then
Yeah, technically Kata doesn't need to heal because she was in wild shape form.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I'm like, there's really no reason for me to roll damage because you're not going to take any of it, but whatever.
Yeah. And then I look at Avok and say, "Now about that axe."
Yeah, we need to get that back because
As you guys are kind of talking, Fade, you feel your holy symbol start to kind of pulse with energy.
I stop talking.
And all of you guys standing there see this kind of wave of indigo energy kind of emanate from Fade. For the next 48 hours, you will all be under the effects of a bless spell.
Alright!
Ooh.
Nice.
What does that do?
yeah,
Fine, we'll
Add
bless
D4
those.
to an attack
yeah.
roll, I think.
D4 to D20 rolls, basically.
Yeah.
Nice. That works.
Attack rolls, ability checks.
And for 2 whole days, nice.
All right then.
Let's make sure we do things for 2 days.
Yeah.
And with that, we are going to end the session.
Yeah!
So, if you're confused as to what in the world is going on, I do put up all the episodes on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/trainerjody. You can watch. This is episode 31, folks. These guys have been playing for just shy of 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in August. So there is a lot of stuff that has happened. You are more than welcome to go to the my YouTube channel and check it all out there. Otherwise, follow me here on Twitch. I do run D&D games every Tuesday, starting at either 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and that's Central Time. And follow me on Twitter. I generally tweet about this stuff and other inane, random things that I decide are important. I'm at Trainer Jody on Twitter. So anyway, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye bye.
Good night.
Bye,